Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna foil when I get back in the water and I can continue on my addiction.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna foil.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the X Foils podcast. I'm sitting here with PJ Tartak. What is your real name?
I'm actually Pedro Jose,
Pedro Jose.
but everybody calls me PJ. So
Yeah.
do we have to do this with this on, or? It's
I
like-
mean, you don't have to.
I don't have to.
You don't
right?
like it?
I don't like. I can't hear my voice and
Yeah,
talk
you
to
can
you
take
at the
it
same
off.
time. Okay. All right. Perfect. Now it's better.
Yeah, I've always worn them, so I don't know what it is without it, but yeah.
Yeah.
You foil, right?
No, I don't.
Oh, damn. Wrong guy.
I actually do completely the opposite of foiling.
Yeah.
I'm a bodyboarder, so. But yeah, I've seen my dad had a foil since probably maybe 15 years ago or so, I don't know, at some time when Laird Hamilton came up with it.
Yeah.
I remember my dad just buying one and just seeing it there, but I never really thought, it looked pretty cool, but I was like, yeah, I'm never going to do that. So, but now with the new technology, it's like, yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah. Your brother does it a little bit.
My two younger brothers do it all the time. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if all the time, but at least I've seen them they're actually getting the hang of it.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah.
They've been pumping around.
Yeah.
They go out to caballos. They go out with the ski. They've been towing into the waves.
Yeah.
And your dad has been going out to that wave and surfing forever. You know, what a legend.
Probably for the past 50 years or so.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Were you part of that when you started going out? You guys would take the jet ski. Did you ever surf, or you're just bodyboarding?
No, I surfed. I actually started surfing very late 90s, early 2000s. And then, because I was living here in Isla Verde, and the group of friends that I had, most of them were bodyboarders. So what happened was they started bringing in the bodyboard movies, and bodyboarding at that time was super explosive. It's still very explosive, but at that time it was very explosive compared to what was happening with surfing. Huh. Surfing was almost boring next to what was going on in surfing. We would see bodyboarders just busting in huge waves, flying,
doing
these maneuvers that looked impossible in surfing, which 10, 12 years later, it actually started happening in the surfing world. But still, bodyboarding looked pretty crazy to me, and I don't know. It was just I would see the movies and I'd be like, no, I want to do that. This is boring, So basically, I changed. I did a transition, and I got hooked into it. So, but I have no regrets for that. The places path that bodyboarding has taken me, I've gone to the same places that I would have gone surfing, but also I've been taken to some other places around the world that I would have never gone if I was a stand-up surfer.
Yeah, you can go in so many different conditions, right? You're not gonna surf in a beach break, or a shore break.
Yeah, you could do it in Puerto Escondido and things like that, but the crazy slabs that I have gotten, that I've been able to surf, in the Canary Islands and, places like that. It's just something that I would have never done with a surfboard, and the experience have been crazy. I probably would have had some crazy experience on a surfboard in other places, but I'm just, I'm very happy with my choice.
Yeah, and you've been in the industry, right? So it's not that you just practice and you do the sport, but on the other side, did you compete? And I know that you do a little bit of business, you're selling a certain brand.
Yeah.
You do your distribution in Puerto Rico of a certain brand, or what do you do?
Actually, Mike Stewart. So I'm the rep for his 3 brands, which are Science Bodyboards, Gyro Accessories, and Viper Surfing Fins. So I'm basically his team rider and rep for the brand here in Puerto Rico.
Nice.
Yeah. No distribution.
Oh, okay. That's a totally different thing. I thought you had some distribution. I was like, damn.
No. Just repping. I just talk to the businesses like yourself. So if you want bodyboards at some time. If you change your mind
If I change my
about
mind,
bodyboarding.
yeah, we were talking about it. I'm like, people walk in here like all day today. People walk in and, you know, I've got this front section here. It's retail and it's pretty small comparable to like what Tres Palmas is doing or Playero. They're very much retail.
Yeah.
And then I mean, Playero is very retail, right? From what I can see, I'm not very involved in that. I feel like Tres Palmas is a lot more sport. Like they do a lot more surfboards at that specific location.
They're more core.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's a surf shop here, it's like it's a core shop. I would say it's Tres Palmas.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So people come in here and they look around and then they go over to the back section. It's like, it's very specific. It's hydrofoils, it's kite gear, and then I have to explain to them, I'm like, it's a very niche thing.
Yeah.
We're the only shop in Puerto Rico that actually has it accessible and in stock and ready to go.
Yeah.
So our foot traffic doesn't really, we don't rely on that for selling kite gear and foils.
Yeah.
But then that other little retail stuff and people have asked for boogie boards and I'm like, well, Tres Palmas, you know,
That's
go
the
down
other
the
shop.
street. Yeah. I mean, we all support each other, right?
Yeah. It has to be done. We can't be on we're such a small island that being at war against each other would be the dumbest idea.
Yeah. I mean, being in the water sports it's kind of like a labor of love, right? It's got to be a labor of love because I don't know, like it's not going to make me rich and famous.
No,
right?
Of course.
So,
of course.
You were doing competitions then with your bodyboarding?
Well, I only competed.
Do you call it boogie boarding or bodyboarding?
I call it bodyboarding.
But you can call it boogie?
People call it boogie as well. I mean, Tom Mori, the creator, says that it should be called boogie boarding because bodyboarding sounds like you're in a body bag or something weird, you know, like. Yeah. So he always said to call it boogie boarding, but I don't know. I like how bodyboarding sounds. I don't know. Whatever. I don't really care.
Doesn't matter.
It's just like when people say boogie boarding, the first thing that comes to your mind is probably one kid on a little wave, just going like that. You know, they can't really visualize what actually happens on a bodyboard. So,
I wasn't, because I'm not into it.
Yeah.
I mean, like every kid, I had one at one point, and I threw myself into a shore break, and that's pretty much the extent of it. So I didn't want to offend anybody, you know, if it's bodyboarding, boogie boarding, you know.
It's cool. It's cool. It's we were talking about the competition. So yeah, I only competed for a full year, which was 2017. But I never was really into competitions. For me, competing was, I never got into the sport for competitions. I was more into the lifestyle and the free surfing and just enjoying it.
Yeah.
But I knew that in order for me to get better, just personally, I just wanted to be a better bodyboarder. So I knew I had to expose myself into the competition. So I would throw myself into a comp maybe once a year just to see it. And then, I don't know, I had 2 years, I had 2 years fully practicing in I would go to Indonesia and practice for 2 full months and feel okay, I had good repetition this year. I feel like I'm getting way better. I can try my luck against the top guys. So in the end, it was an amazing experience. I got to travel to Hawaii, compete in Tahiti. We even competed in Nazaré in Portugal. So when you think of Nazaré, you think of huge waves, but no, when it gets small, 8, 12 feet, it's still super fun. It's a super fun beach break for bodyboarding. So
that's epic.
So we got to surf in, like I said, Portugal, Brazil, Chile, Tahiti, Hawaii, and we ended up in Canary Islands. And I ended up 25th in the world that year. So that was pretty good.
That's pretty cool.
It was about
So 25 people on the circuit?
No, it was 26. But no, it was, I think it was around 300, but maybe
what?
but maybe
Holy
150 were consistent. But I don't know. Yeah.
That's a lot.
That was a lot. Yeah, a lot of riders.
How's the community here? For boogie boarding? Is it strong? There's a lot of people.
Well,
is it growing? Because I've talked about it a little bit. I've had many guests on the show. I assume that you don't listen to the podcast. It's called the X Foils. We talk a lot about foiling, and I just get
The X-Foils.
the X-Foils. Yeah, it's a play off the X-Foils. Yeah, the X-Files. So
Yeah, sorry, you called me and we didn't even really talk about the podcast. You just like, well, let's do this, and I was like, yeah, they're cool. So
No, of course.
I'm so sorry about that.
no, that's fine. I don't tell anybody what we're going to talk about or
Okay.
what it's about. I have no idea what it's about
All right,
in general.
all right. That's
You
cool.
know?
That's even
I've
better.
I've recorded like 13 of these things, and I'm just like winging it completely. And it's been a lot of fun. And I just bring people in they're just foilers or kiters or, watermen in general that are in our community and how they influence the community or why, boogie boarding changed your life. Why did foiling change their life? And just the lifestyle behind it, because everybody that's weekend warriors or can't do it. I mean, I do this full time. This is my job, right? Water sports is my job. But everybody else that I've had on the show, they treat it like their full-time job, you know, but it's their hobby.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's this addiction to water sports and like this sport and the community around it that you have it's so captivating, right? So I just wanted to pick on people and just talk about it and why is it that you make, boogie boarding your full-time job when it doesn't pay you anything.
Exactly.
All you do is spend money on it. It's kind of like, that is not a job, right? And you'll go to different extents and different lengths to get to do this, right? Like you'll drive 5 hours to get this one wave and it's just this addiction, right?
Yeah,
it's an addiction, if it wasn't water sports, then I'd be drinking a lot heavier.
Probably. Yeah, we'll be looking for a cheap thrill.
Yeah.
And I think that's our only way of getting that little cheap thrill.
You can answer the phone. We'll put them on the
we're
podcast.
Not
It's your girlfriend.
Not answering. No girlfriends either.
No.
So, what was it that you're saying about right before?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I have no
we
idea.
lost it there. Okay, no worries. So
no, I bring people in here. We talk about foiling.
Yeah.
You don't foil. It doesn't
No.
really matter.
No, but I want to foil.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna foil after I get better from. I had a surgery. I had a surgery recently, so when I get back in the water and I can continue on my addiction, I will. I'm definitely gonna foil. So
No, so I was talking about how I'll bring all these people in.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have lived here forever. You know, locals forever. Like Kiko del Mau. He started kiteboarding.
Yeah.
Like he was one of the first people to kite, the first people to foil kite, and then they talk about how the scene was back in the day. Because I'm fresh. I'm like 6 years in, right? And I see these pictures from back in the 80s of like hobby cats stretched across the beach.
Yeah.
And windsurfers, like hundreds of windsurfers, and just insane. And at one point, it was COVID, right? COVID had a huge boom, and water sports was growing, and we were crazy busy. But I mean, it doesn't feel like it's as big as what it used to be.
No.
Right? And I wonder how surfing, there's always this kind of like steady pulse.
Yeah.
I think in surfing, and everyone just stays in it forever. You see the longboarders in La Ocho, they've been there for 50, 60 years,
Probably,
right? And they're still there, right? How's the boogie boarding? Like, do you feel like there was a huge craze and there's a drop, or is it
there's
growing?
definitely been a crazy drop. I feel the drop. I feel like it had its peak in 2012, and since then it's been like a steady, small decline. At least here in Puerto Rico, the problem is that I don't see a young generation coming in. So I feel like it's my generation, and then there's another one that they're in their late 20s, maybe early 30s. I'm 37, and that's it. I don't see a young generation coming up. I don't see the generation that, like, when I grew up, like, there was a bunch of us, Right now, I only see like not more than 10 new kids that they're in their late teens, early 20s. And that is actually scary.
It's probably social media or something.
Social media.
Being on their phone all the time. They don't get out.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, when I was a kid, we used to ride around on our bikes on the street.
Yeah.
Come home before dark was our only curfew.
Yep.
They had no idea where we were, what we were doing. And I think it's just,
Yeah.
it's not as safe now, or, I don't know.
I think it's just like
Times are changing.
times are changing, and people just want to be comfortable. This new generation, I feel like they just want to be comfortable, and they don't want to get out there and just experience life. They're, and I get it. It's also, any hobby, like we were saying, like, this is not a hobby. This is like a full-time job, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
And every year it gets more expensive. If I want to travel from here to Rincon, that's an $80 trip,
Yeah.
And gas, food. That was probably 25, maybe $30. I don't know, 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Now it's just like impossible it feels almost like impossible. Like, I have to think about it, like, do I really want to drive all the way to Rincon and surf? And maybe it's not that great. So maybe that's one of the reasons, but I don't know. I feel like it's easier to just like get your fix from playing PlayStation and being on your phone and being on the computer or whatever.
Because I've thought about it recently, and I've asked the question many times in the podcast, being like, why is there such a decline? Like, why aren't there 100 kiteboarders out there? Why aren't there like 100 foilers? I don't know the surfing scene as much, right? I go surfing in spots that are a little bit more accessible because I'm foiling.
Okay.
So I need it to be deeper. I don't want a crowd. I'm off to the side, and I'm just not. I'm not in the culture. I'm not hanging out with surfers.
But it's the same. It's almost the same culture. In the end, we're all
I mean,
people.
it is the same. I'm not roaming with them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in like I'm with my own people, right? I'm with my foilers, and they're with their surfers, and
but everybody gets each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I can understand your addiction as well as you can understand mine.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because you've got this Instagram. Is it only on Instagram? You do this Bravitos TV thing?
Yeah, Bravito TV is only on Instagram.
Which is pretty cool.
Thank you.
Why'd you name it Bravitos? And because I know you play on the Bravitos thing, and you play on this joke.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
So to start it off, like, Bravito was, before I even had the Bravito TV page, I used to do the surf reports on my personal page. And I was doing it just like a joke, just showing people, the waves are going to be like that or whatever. And then people started asking me to put it on do it a reel. I was like, no, just leave it on my stories. I don't want to put this on my reels, So I was like, okay, so how do I do this? So let me create a page, but how am I going to call it? So one day I go, the waves were small, so the word bravo, you can if you say somebody's a bravo, it's like, he's a brave guy. Mm-hmm. Well, Bravito is just making it small. So Bravito is more like the guy that's just cocky when the waves are small, and and then when the waves get big, he's like unseen on the water. So I set one day, it was like, today was Saturday, Bravito Saturday. Everybody was out, but no one was here on Friday when the waves were huge, and everybody was just being very cocky on that Saturday. And I started getting like hundreds of messages from everybody. It's like, dude, what the fuck did you just say? That's crazy. I love it. Bravito, Bravito. And I was talking with my friend Pedro Davila, which is the guy from the band Mean Grey Cat, and he's also a graphic designer. And he goes like, dude, let's do a logo for that. He drew the logo, we put it in, everybody loved it, and it just went off. For the past 2 years, it's just been growing and growing, with me just doing memes about the toxicity inside our community. Yeah. Because if I'm not attacking the guy that is learning, my direct attack, and not a direct attack, but I'm usually like, just pointing out at the toxicity inside our community. Like, that toxicity of surfing is not a welcoming sport, You're not, in the foiling world, you're welcome to foil, and people are...
Between other foilers, yes.
Yeah.
To the surfers, no.
No, exactly, because the surfing community is not welcoming. When you start surfing and you come up to a new place and you don't know everybody, people don't really treat you like, hey, welcome. It's very rare to find that, especially here in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
People that so that community itself, it's eating itself, and that's one of the reasons that it may not be growing here in Puerto Rico, because you go out in the water and you go like, shit, I have to deal with these guys now again.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen not in one beach. It's going to happen in probably, I would say, 7 out of 10 beaches that you go in Puerto Rico, which are crowded. You're going to have that. You're going to find yourself with a Bravito and this team of Bravitos just being very cocky.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with that shit. So it's mostly me attacking that part of the toxicity and the surf culture.
Yeah, which is funny.
Yeah, which is funny, and everybody gets it.
Yeah.
And that's why
I even get it.
you get it. and even the it's not only Puerto Ricans getting it. Like, the page is getting recognition in Europe. It's getting recognition in Latin America. So, like, I have friends from other parts of the world telling me like, oh yeah, we have a bunch of those here in Puerto Rico, in our country as well. And we're like, you see, this is not a Puerto Rico problem.
No,
this is
of course not.
Worldwide problem.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I never learned how to surf. Never in my life.
Yeah.
I really don't like confrontation.
Yeah.
It's like
I
my
hate
whole
it.
life I've never wanted to deal with it. I just I'm more political. I can squash situations. I can talk my way out.
Yeah.
I always smooth things over. I'm very easy that way. And I never wanted to get into surfing because I just felt intimidating. I didn't want to put myself in a situation where I'd have to defend myself or want to defend myself,
Yeah.
And it's only happened maybe once or twice foil surfing with another surfer or something, but I understand not coming to him like a surfer to surfer, right? Coming to him as a foiler to surfer, and I understand that attack, right? Because it looks scary. I'm catching,
Of course.
1,000 more waves.
And you see that.
kidding.
No,
No,
it's
but-
true. And you see that huge fin coming at you, and you're like, dude, you're gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
so.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Right. So I understood the whole get away from me or
Yeah.
don't do that here kind of thing. And then I was like, well, I'm far away. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. And then it came to a point where it wasn't about the foil anymore. It was just about, being out in the water with that same person.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't feel very comfortable,
It's not.
to have to put yourself on this hierarchy or climb your way up a ladder to get somewhere. And it's funny that I've never actually been part of it, and I have no surfer etiquette.
Exactly.
Right? So I'm a foiler, right? I learned how to surf, but I have no surfer etiquette because I never had to learn it. I never had to go through it.
Yeah.
Which is, it's kind of strange.
And now that you mentioned the etiquette part, it's like the problem is that, for example, I try to have my etiquette in the water. I have my etiquette, and I try to be one of the guys that I understand I won't drop in, I'll wait my turn, and I'll respect others, But then you can be like that, but you have 10 other guys in the water not doing it. So what am I supposed to do? Am I going to get run over by all these guys, or, they're going to be stepping on me because they don't follow those rules.
Yeah.
So they have their own set of rules. So, and it just creates this mess in the water that it's basically lawless.
Yeah.
And it's basically you running through others' rules, a rule set that they created in order to favor them. The localism. And I'm like, I'm a local, bro. I'm from Puerto Rico. I've been here for the past 25 years. And they're like, no. But you come from this side of the island. It's like, no. I don't care if you were born in the sand with the turtles. You respect me. I respect you.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
I didn't come all the way here to see you surf. Plus, you don't even know how to surf. So I'm being a prick right now. But but
no, I understood.
But it's that kind of attitude. You get this attitude from people that just come up all of a sudden, and then they tell you like, oh no, but you have to be a local. I'm just like, bro, I've been surfing here for the past 20 years, and you showed up 2 years ago. You can't give me the the local card all of a sudden. It's just like it doesn't work like that, you know.
Yeah.
But again, they use rules that favor them to go up in that hierarchy, and then it's just like, so where am I in the hierarchy again? And then, like you said, you don't want to get into a confrontation, but if you don't get into that confrontation, it's just like they're going to step on you.
Yeah.
And you can't just put yourself, they can't see you just like, oh, yeah, don't worry about that. Because they will step over you.
Yeah, for sure.
And you won't catch waves. I don't go to the beach to catch 3 waves and watch these guys, catch 20 and 30 waves.
Yeah.
So that's probably the most toxic problem that I see in the culture here in Puerto Rico, especially.
Do you think that the Bravito thing helps?
Oh,
like your channel specifically helps cool the mood?
It doesn't cool the mood for me. People are pissed.
Oh, really? You feel some heat from that?
Oh, yeah. I get messages. I've gotten threatened.
No way.
People threatening me.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
I thought it was just like for me, it's a joke, and I understand it.
Joke.
It's like,
it's a joke, but it's also so true for some people that they actually
get offended by it.
They get offended. So, have you seen how bullies, when you hit a bully back, how they really get offended?
Oh yeah,
it's that.
Yeah,
because the bully feels the pressure, and they're gonna feel the pressure from someone that knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So they're gonna feel like, oh, this guy, he thinks like he's better than me. And it's just like, it's not that I think that I'm better than you. It's just like you're pretending to have control of a beach.
Yeah.
And you don't really have the merits.
Yeah.
Of that. You just have what? You don't have a God-given right over the beach. Nobody does. So if we all learn to share, instead of you catching 20 waves, hey, maybe catch 15. I'll catch 10. I'll give you that. But I didn't come to see you surf and I catch 3 waves because you caught 20 and dropped in on me twice.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, you can tell when somebody's pretty self-conscious when they don't get the comedy.
Exactly.
When it's about them.
Yeah. And it hurts.
Yeah.
I've have some voice messages of people really hurt, and I go like, "You really think I'm talking about you? I haven't seen you in 20 years, in 10 years. I don't even know you.
Yeah.
And you think I did a meme about you?
That's rough.
That's wild. For me, it was wild.
Oh, that's cool, man. I didn't know it was on that level.
Yeah.
Well, because I never took any offense to any of it because I'm not part of it, right? I just don't.
Of course.
And I believe in comedy. I like. Nobody likes to be the butt of a joke.
Of course.
Right. That's when it hurts. But if you can be, right, and you can find the light in a situation, especially about like dark humor. For me, I have a dark humor, and because I find the light in weird places. If I can't laugh about it, then what can you do?
Yeah.
Right? Then you suffer through it. So I like to try to, about death or whatever. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I can do to get over it is I try to find something funny about it or relatable about it, and then that way I can feel a little bit more relieved, right? And it's that dark humor, and I have that, and I can understand it. I don't know if that's so much dark humor, but
it is.
There's some kind of a level to it, and I was actually I watch a lot of comedy, and I like the ones where the comedians are just they're just on the edge of being offensive, and you're like, oh, did you just say that? You're like, he did
Louis
just say
type.
that.
Like the Louis C.K. style.
Yeah.
It's where he goes like, and you go like, oh, did you just
not
say
like
that?
You're like laugh out loud funny, but oh shit.
Yeah.
And then,
it comes back.
Yeah.
So basically, it was same thing. I like comedy. I like dark humor. And the same way I even take bodyboarding and I piss on bodyboarding on these memes. I do jokes about bodyboarders and how surfers look at bodyboarders. And I do those kind of jokes, and I get heat from people that don't know that I'm a bodyboarder. So I get messages like, "Oh, what are you saying about bodyboarders?" It's like, dude, I'm a bodyboarder, man. So once they receive that, they're like, "Oh, okay, then that's cool." But if I'm gonna do like jokes like that,
well, if you can't make fun of yourself,
exactly, you need to laugh at yourself. You need to learn how to laugh at your, I laugh about our sport all the time. Like, yeah, we're doing this sport that we're not getting paid or doing anything, and we're just throwing ourselves to death. Whatever,
Yeah.
But yeah, like I sometimes I can do jokes about foilers and how surfers view foilers, but sometimes I'm like, can I do that? I don't know if they're gonna take offense against something like that. So I'll just keep it in the surfing and bodyboarding world where everybody already knows me and knows that I'm joking. I don't want to bring in the kite surfers and the
you
foilers
should.
and burn them, and they go be like, "Oh, what is this guy doing?"
Yeah.
But
I
I'm
mean,
doing it in the way that just like, dude, guys, let's just laugh about ourselves.
Yeah.
We're taking this too serious.
Humor is strange.
Humor is
right?
strange.
And there's a certain type of intelligence to make up these quick wit jokes.
Yeah.
Like I think it's, man, to be able to come up with the memes and the stuff, it's an intelligent humor, right? To have this twist on it.
Yeah.
And I find it hilarious. How is it being a boogie boarder between the boogie boarders and the surfers?
Yeah.
Like what is that interaction? Does one look down on one another, or because of what they're doing in their sport, or?
Well, in Puerto Rico, I think it's it depends.
Not that it's all general, but I'm just like, in specifics.
No, it depends. When you're at a high level, if you're surfing and when the high level surfers and with high level bodyboarders, and we're all at the same high level wave.
Yeah.
Nobody looks down upon anyone. In fact, I think the strongest part of the community is up there.
Yeah.
If I go to a place where the waves are not that great, and then there's some old timer surfers down there, or that they've never seen bodyboarding other than in those small waves, they do look down upon it.
Yeah.
And I understand it, because you've never been you've never seen it, like
never been
exposed to it. Exactly.
Yeah.
You've never been exposed to high level bodyboarding, and I get it. If when I get on a surfboard, I feel that same power. Like, I see the bodyboarders on small waves, and I'm like, what are you guys doing here? Get out of here. You guys are just swimming around me. I can't even catch waves. So I get it. I understand why would they get mad. But the community with bodyboarders and surfers here in Puerto Rico, at least the high level guys, everybody just respects everybody. I've never had any problems with the high level guys here in Puerto Rico. And in fact, most of them, we grew up together. So,
yeah, that makes sense.
Like Gabriel Escudero, which he's living in Valley at the moment. We went to school from kindergarten. And then Ale Moreda and his brother, we also, like, since we were 13 or 14 years old, we've been seeing each other in aviones and in every wave in Puerto Rico. So every high level surfer, of my generation, we all grew up together, and we never had this, but you're a bodyboarder.
Yeah.
Those comments always come from the guys that are not really good.
Yeah.
That the comments that you're just a boogie boarder, those comes from those people. Mostly from the guys that are never really out there on the real day. So
yeah.
This might sound like me being a little bit of prick, but it's just like, I don't look down upon you because you're not on the good days, Like, I understand it's not for everybody.
I mean, it's scary.
Yeah, everybody has a different approach to it, and if you don't want to surf bigger waves, that's fine. I don't want to surf huge Nazare. Forget that. I have my limits as well,
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna frown upon you because you don't want to do it. So I'm gonna try to push my friends, into getting into bigger waves. If I see a friend of mine that's scared, I'm just gonna be like, no, you have to do it like this. This is the mindset that you have to have before going out. So I'll try to push my friends into it, and same way my friends pushed me into it. So yeah.
Are there some high-level boogie boarders that come from Puerto Rico that are competing all the time? And
Well, not
some,
competing.
or,
No one's competing.
or just some names that stand out.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, like
I asked, I'm just totally naive to the whole scene. That's all, right? So I don't know how the names are, or if it's like it's international, or would people recognize the talent that comes out of Puerto Rico by name?
Well, by name, first name that always comes to mind from Puerto Rico, it's Bobby Quiñones. You know, he's done a lot for the sport here in Puerto Rico. I think he was twice. He was second in pipe twice, and he's been competing around the world. He's done so many years in Puerto Escondido and caught huge waves that people talk about them worldwide every time he has done something like that. So yeah, Bobby's one of those first names that comes up to
the only reason I say competition is because it's the only way to, like, if you're a free, like a free rider, it's part of your lifestyle. It's very hard to get recognized. Yeah. Unless it's competition. Competition has like
standard,
it has a stamp, and it has a grade of where you stand inside of a level, right? If it's all free ride, then you've got to be very dedicated, to be able to promote yourself on, not doing competitions. It's really hard in any sport.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially in something like this, that you're your own PR. Yeah. You're your own publicist. You're your own your own manager. Yeah. Your own mentor. So yeah, it's not easy. In the free riding world, you have to do the competitions in order to get the recognition. Yeah. For sure. If you don't do the comps, you don't get the recognition. I think for me, for example, going to Tahiti was that moment of recognition, even for me in Puerto Rico. Like, when people saw me going out there and saw the photos that came out of that trip, they were like, okay, he's legit.
That was 2017?
2017.
That was that year?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that year, I'll actually send you a photo.
What a beautiful place.
Yeah, the place is amazing. And the wave is just so intense. It's the place to actually...
You were looking at the surf cam like 2 days ago, right?
I was. I was just like dying.
I saw you post like a story of like,
no.
God damn it.
Yeah, I can't. That's how sick we are, Like I literally do that all the time. I go like, where is it pumping? And I'm
that's
like,
torture.
Yeah, just go to the cam and just torture myself. Like, oh, it's pumping in Puerto Escondido, it's pumping in Tahiti, it's pumping in pipe.
Oh man.
But I like it because at the same time I learn. So I look at the swell and I'm like, okay, now I know which is the good swell. Yeah. And next time I see it like that, I'm gonna get my ass on a plane and get down there. Huh. So and I've done it and it has worked. So yeah.
I've never had the luxury to do that. No. Like, look at a forecast and be like, I'm gonna hit that storm or that wave or that wind. Like, I've never been able to do that. Like, man, I've always just been working so much.
I've done it twice. Yeah. Only twice. Yeah. No, actually, I've done it 3 times, but the third time was coming back from Indonesia. I saw the hurricane before I left, and I was like, I still have 1 more week, but I'm going to change my trip because I know it's going to be really good, and the waves were already going to be mediocre in Indo, so I was like, if I get to Puerto Rico, and I hate missing swells in Puerto Rico. Yeah. I can be wherever I am and around the world, and with the waves are pumping here, I'm like, no!
Yeah.
So, but how would it be for you in the terms of like foiling? Like, would you look at a storm and be like, yeah, I want to go to, I don't know.
No, I mean, now I do so many different foil disciplines. Surfing is very like one of them. I do a lot of foil surfing, but I do a lot of, now I'm really focused on downwinding. Okay. So downwind foiling, which is just epic adventures. Like, you start on one point, you go out to the deep.
Without the wing.
Without the wing. It's just a paddle board. Oh. And you paddle yourself up and you get up on foil and you voyage down the coast. Like, I've done 15, 16 miles on foil. Just
pumping a little waves. And just...
like swell to swell. You can catch swell and you can sometimes I can stand there for minutes at a time on a swell. And then it disappears and you're into another one and then into another one and into another one.
That's crazy.
And so for me, yeah, I love surfing, but you're on this one wave, and then you can pump and you can catch another wave. But doing the downwind thing, you're in between hundreds of waves throughout like miles and miles, and you're trying to pick and choose which ones you want to run on and pump to and fall back or run forward, different speeds. Like, it's kind of like you're putting together a puzzle for miles.
Yeah.
And you have to be so hyper focused. If not, you'll just lose it.
Lose it, yeah.
And I've had times where I feel really relaxed, and I've had a phone call and I've had to answer it, and I'm still on foil, and I can manage myself. So it's getting to a point where I'm getting much better at it. I'm pretty good on foil. Like, I've been spending a lot of time on foil. And the storm thing, like chasing a storm, would be for kiting.
Okay.
Like, you know, doing a big air, like trying to jump over 25, 30 meters or something. You go and go to a storm where it's 50 knots.
Yeah.
And just send
Go
it,
for it.
right?
Yeah.
And that's the foiling stuff. Man, it could be blowing 15, 16 knots here, no swell at all. And I can go out caballos. I paddle out past the reef, paddle myself up onto a swell, and I can just go and go. And I just end up wherever I want. Most of the time I end up in La Ocho. I just stop my run, and I run into La Ocho, stop my run, get my car, and drive home.
How hard is it to learn that?
It's hard.
It's hard, right?
It's very hard. And
I mean,
I think...
but at least I have, sorry to interrupt you, but at least I have I know how to read a swell. Mm-hmm. But the part that looks really hard is just like learning how to pump that thing.
Yeah. So pumping is one thing. Reading the swell is really important. If I had to pump and pump and pump for 10 miles, you'd die.
Yeah.
I'm really good at pumping, but you really want to read the waves and learn how to sit on the foil as slow as you can. And man, those foils are so efficient now. It's wild. I do it every day that I can, and it still blows my mind that I'm doing it. I'm like,
Okay.
Holy shit. I am 2 miles offshore, and I am just riding open ocean swell. And I can get like 20, 23 miles an hour down something that looks this steep, right? But it's rolling at a speed, and you're in troughs, and it's insane.
I need
to send you some videos of it, because it's hard to wrap your head around it and explain it, and you got to see it. Like Hood River, it's called the Gorge. They've got a river. The wind howls through there, sometimes like 40 knots, like 40 to 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And it's ripping down the river, and the current is coming the other way. And it's like, dude, it's like riding 10-foot waves. And you're riding down the river, down with the wind, on these waves for miles and miles and miles, just like wave after wave, and like bomb down one, come off the back, catch another one. It's insane. It's fucking insane.
It has to be so crazy.
Yeah.
Because the thing with surfing and bodyboarding, most of the time you're doing nothing. So you're sitting there. But there's a lot of adrenaline.
I'm glad we could get on that same page.
Yeah,
No,
it's true. It's just like you're sitting there, and the adrenaline is for like what, maybe 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Most waves.
Yeah.
There's places that I go to surf, and the adrenaline is just like a, I don't know, 3-second thing.
Yeah.
So you come out and you're like, but you're so, the dopamine hit is so strong that it lasts till that night.
And then you got to get it again.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, I wanna understand, like, how are you doing this? That, how much dopamine are you getting it from each? Like, I'm probably trying to like compare one to the other, but it's actually can't be done.
You can't. But there's a certain kind of, like, you've heard of flow state, right?
Yeah.
And you're in this certain. Sometimes you're in this certain zone, and it's elongated, right? Like when I'm on one wave, or I'm doing kiting, or all these sports are just all so different, right? And I can imagine that when you're on that one wave, it's however long, you've got to catch it, and you're in that moment, and you're doing like a critical move or whatever it is, and that's when you end up in it. You're doing things that you can't even think about, because it's happening too fast. You're going through the motions, and your body is taking over in this kind of flow state, right? And in foiling, it can be so elongated that you're in this zone of like focus and like this mental state of just flow that you can't comprehend.
That's where I want to be.
Yeah, it's insane.
I need to do this then.
And yeah, I've had some really, really bad sessions. I've had some really good ones. Now that you've been on the podcast, you can go back and I can give you some that are pretty good to listen to. Like the one from Mickey, he's a downwind foiler. That's all he's done. He's a Puerto Rican. He owns San Juan paddleboarding.
Okay.
And he's like one of the first guys doing paddling here with the art. And he specifically does foiling for downwinding. And he learned when the equipment wasn't accessible. It just didn't exist. Huge fat boards, slow, big, weird foils, and extremely difficult. It's still extremely difficult. And we have equipment that is like so specific and so good.
State of the art.
Oh my God. Like it is designed to do that. And it does that really well. And it's still very difficult, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you wanna say like boogie boarding can get expensive to drive to Rincon, I mean, oh my God, foiling can
Can't imagine.
it will break your bank account. It is insane. But my God, is it so worth it? Like every little bit of it. And you don't need the state of the art. You don't need the best of the best, right? I need the best of the best because I need to sell the best of the best and I need to recommend it. And that is my job.
Of course.
Right? But you do not need it. And people that come in here, they're like, can I do it with this kit? Yes, you can do it with this kit. Some kit you can't do it with, but there's a certain range to it. And that's why I started the X Foils podcast, is because I really love kiting and all the water sports. But foiling, I can just talk about it for days. Like the equipment and the nuances and the sports. There's surfing, there's winging, there's downwinding, there's sup surfing, there's all these different sports that you can kind of get into, and everything has its specification and different qualities and different size tails and different angles of attack. It's kind of silly, and I'm not very good at that techie stuff. Those things. I know what feels good, and I just put myself through the paces and just ride and ride and ride as much as I can to get to the skill that I am now. And it's just time on foil and time.
Yeah, put in the hours.
Yeah, putting in the hours. But if I had to like technically try to design a foil or something, no way. I'm like, just that is not for me.
You wouldn't understand. Okay.
But yeah, you can talk about it because there's just so many different avenues of the sport, and every session is so different, right? Every downwinder is different, every wave, and like, I mean, it's the same. And the reason I kind of like, we'd been talking for a while, right, to get you on here. I don't know, it's been a couple weeks, and then you left, you went to Mexico, you came back, and then finally.
It's been a weird year for me. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, you're good, man. It's a weird year for everybody, always.
Sorry about that.
But that's why I wanted you on here, because I'm like, I kind of wanted to start a water sports podcast, and it kind of went towards foiling because I feel the most passion for it at the moment.
Yeah.
That's really what I'm thrilled about. But since you don't foil, I wanted to feel like what could we like come to common grounds with, right? And it's the same. We're all the same people.
It's the same. On a different craft.
And then I wanted to bring you in here to make sure that you come out the other end a foiler.
I am probably gonna get one. Again, like I told you, my dad, he got one of the. I'm pretty sure he got one of the first foils here.
Oh, I'm sure your dad is
He has all the toys,
dude. I could have a full 2-hour special on your dad.
Yeah.
Like, I got to get your dad in here. Actually,
It'll be fun.
Dude, he's like the stories that he's told about surfing caballos and his
rescuing almost half of the surfing population out there.
Crazy, dude. He's such a good dude.
Yeah.
That's actually how we got to meet you guys, your family, is that we came to Puerto Rico. We were fresh here. One of my business partners, Damien, which you know as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was like our first week in Puerto Rico, and they're like, you got to meet Pedro. And it was New Year's, and he had a New Year's party at the house.
Okay.
And we went. It was like our first week here. We knew nobody, and it was like immediately our best friend.
And you open up the doors.
Yeah,
He's
just so friendly. Yeah. And then, I mean, Tartak right there, furniture from
right.
Tartak.
Yeah, I saw it.
Like the hotel is furnished by Tartak, right?
Thanks,
are you involved in the business now?
I am now.
Yeah.
Now that I'm older, I am. I've always been involved in a sense, like.
So if people don't know, Tartak, you guys have a a
furniture business
huge
that's been
furniture,
for
like
almost 100 years now.
it's insane.
Yeah.
Huge warehouse, like so much inventory. I went there. Like your dad let us store stuff there when we were moving. He had like the upstairs. He had like a little corner for us, and we stored kayaks and just like crazy amounts of stuff because we
There
didn't
was
have
still space for everybody.
I know, crazy. And and it was an overwhelming amount of inventory in that place, right?
Yeah. It's, you know, we've always bring in the rarities.
Yeah.
You know, very different from everybody else. But yeah, we were saying, since I was little, I've been pushing furniture up and down the store. So, but now that I'm getting older, I'm getting a little bit more involved. You know, I'm seeing, because you know when you know how that generation, you know, they got most of that generation got more stuck in the 90s on how to deal with that type of business.
Oh yeah, everything's on paper.
And so,
like, I mean, probably a binder like this of what inventory should be, right?
Exactly. Even more. And if it's not on paper, it's in somebody else's head, you know? So
I know exactly. I don't know if you know Arlen Miller.
Yeah.
So his family, his grandfather, they do tiles and toilets and
it's the same thing.
Same thing. He's like, bro, this is my one of my inventory. I'm like, everything. He's like, yeah, bro, my grandpa, old school, will not change. Like, this is how it is. And I'm like, I'm trying to give him tips because he's trying to help run the business and stuff like what you're doing. So I feel like it's very, very relatable. You and Arlen.
Yeah, because in the end, it's like either you start building the bridge now, or you get it in 10 years and you're gonna be like, damn, now I need to deal with all of this and start over. So anyway, I tried to build that bridge maybe 15 years ago.
Damn.
And you know, they were still very, you know, on the way they wanted.
Does he still do that commercial?
No, I don't think. No, we already moved. We already moved past that.
But that was epic.
That was epic because that was the way Puerto Ricans sell here in Puerto Rico. So that was the way, and it was, you know,
it's
worked.
like a live infomercial or something, right?
And it worked.
That
was crazy
cool.
that it would work. But now that we're trying to move in more into the Facebook, Instagram game that everybody's also playing, definitely I need to find other ways to, you know, to make more sales. But, you know, whatever. At the moment, at least we're already building that bridge, and he's more open into it. So I'm just happy with that.
That's cool.
Yeah. So probably, you know, I know my dad's one of those guys that he's going to be working till his last day. And I'm very happy, you know, that he has that energy and that drive.
I mean,
I look up to him.
That's where that energy and drive, like, that's where it has to stay. If not, the moment you start to come off the back end of that and slow down is when
it's over.
Yeah,
it's over.
It's when it can be more difficult, right?
So my grandmother once
you got to stay busy.
Yeah. My grandmother once told me, like, if I stop, I die. And I never forgot those words, because once I saw her stopping working, I saw her decline, and it was really hurtful. You know, it hurt a lot just seeing her just like not working and just going like, So it's heavy.
Yeah. Do you get to travel to Bali a lot because of that, or did you?
Yeah,
because you guys. So what you do is you import stuff from
Indonesia.
Yeah, you have like a warehouse
Indonesia,
there,
Thailand,
or something.
Vietnam. Yeah, mostly South Asia, Southeast Asia. Yeah, we have our own storage down there. Yeah, and but not in Bali. We don't. We go to Bali like afterwards.
Yeah. No, for
but
sure.
mostly we travel around Indo and, you know, find the rarities and
That's
bring
cool.
them here. Yeah,
that's insane.
it's pretty cool. I've been doing that since I was 15.
Yeah.
First time I was down there, I was 15. But the second time was the first time I went with him to work, and I saw him work. After we worked, then I had my time to just like go surf, and that was pretty cool. That was the moment I was like, yeah, this is gonna be a really good job when I get older.
That's cool. Yeah, because the reason I asked you is because I started to see things pop up on Tartak and a little bit more, you know, new generation style.
Yeah.
And I assume that you were starting to like
Well,
poke
Poke my
yourself in
finger.
there.
Well, mostly, no, he does, he continues being the guy that, and I completely respect that. He's
Mm-hmm.
the one that actually chooses the furniture.
No, I just meant the marketing.
Oh, the marketing.
The
Okay,
marketing
yeah,
wise.
the marketing wise, yeah. But the
Looked-
furniture, like
yeah.
when it comes to furniture, he's the guy. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Because he knows the trends. For me, sometimes it's like, really? Are you sure that's going to sell? And he brings it in and sells it the first day. And I'm like, wow.
I've seen some stuff in there that's like wild. And I'm like, whoa.
Who's going to buy that? And that person just comes in and buy it. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a really good friend growing up. Same thing. They have the same store.
Yeah.
And they have these crazy, like just like wood pillars and like banisters and closets and doors and things that they turn into tables and crazy.
People love it.
Crazy. Yeah, it's awesome.
But it's not, maybe
Such
it's
a
not for you and me,
Yeah, yeah.
but people love it.
Yeah.
It's like you trying to sell me this, and I'll be like,
Inflatable
want this?
furniture.
And then somebody's going to be like, oh, this is pretty sick.
It
And
gets-
it's actually sick.
It gets a lot of eyeballs, this stuff.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then they sit on it and they're like, ugh. That's why I have this, because if we were sitting on something comfy, the podcast would go on for hours.
And
but
be like,
at one point, you're like, God damn, I got to get off this inflatable couch, my ass.
You know, I haven't felt that, but
No, this one's a little bit
pretty
more
good.
like straight up, and
Yeah.
that thing is comfy.
this is super comfy.
That thing's great. Yeah, and they have one like white like that with the arms, but it's like a hammock, so you sit and float in it in the water.
super cool.
It's dope.
Yeah.
It's cool. I want to
love
use
it.
them. I want to use them a little bit more. I take this to the beach all the time when I do like demos and stuff.
Yeah.
I have my electric pump. I pump it up on the beach and I just set it up, and everyone loves
Oh,
it.
you have an electric pump.
Yeah,
You see,
it's
I
like a little
stayed-
like.
I stayed on the. That's one of the reasons I never kite surfed. I couldn't deal with the hassle of pumping a kite, the strings. I thought it was like, why am I doing this for 20 minutes? I couldn't. Like, I was so used to like just putting my fins on. I'm out in the
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad just taking me like, no, just help me with this, and I'll be like,
Oh my god.
this is a hassle, bro. I can't deal with this.
Well, what he does is a hassle.
right?
Like he drift launches off a beach that's got no wind, or
Yeah.
off of the ski.
Yeah.
Launches it up, does these long downwinders down the coast to Ocean Park, parks his kite, packs it up, puts it in a soggy wet bag, swims to the jet ski, and then him and his
driver.
drive back to the house upwind against the wind in the chop.
Dude, that was a hassle.
I'm like, I understand it, like it's cool, but that's
loves it.
even sitting on the jet ski going back upwind in the chop, like two big guys on a jet ski.
He loves it.
I'm like, God damn.
loves it.
When I saw it the first time, like, where's he going? And then he got back on the jet ski and he went back. And I was like, what? I'm like, you do what? I'm like, that is just, it's like, yeah, I never have to ride upwind. I'm like, that's epic. You know, he's
loves
got
it,
his
man.
surfboard. He hits the whole reef, the outer reef, as much
Yeah.
as he wants, and then comes and parks the kite.
And doing that at 67, it's pretty
cool.
I look up to him so much
Yeah.
just because of
So you never learned how to fly a kite? I assume you
gave
started.
me a class.
I did?
You gave me a class
No fucking way.
about 5 years ago.
Okay.
I had such a bad sunburn. Because I'm not used to being at that hour
I
outside.
see.
I surf really early in the morning or really
Oh,
late
that's
in the
right.
afternoon.
You were going to get started into
I
it.
had the 2-hour session.
Yeah.
The sunburn was so bad that I was sick for a week.
No.
I was like, you know what? I got my ass dragged from all
It was-
around Ocean Park.
It was probably you sitting at numero uno drinking afterwards that got the sunburn. Come on.
No, man.
No?
I took the class at 11 in the morning. so from 11 to 1. And I
Yeah.
just remember like just getting just like dragged around the ocean. I was like, dude, why can't I get this, man? I was getting so frustrated because me being in the ocean my whole life, just starting from point A once again, just
Yeah.
to learn something new was just, it's so hard for an adult learner, I guess. Like for example, I started learning jiu-jitsu about 4 years ago, or 3 years ago, and I wasn't I wasn't really frustrated with that because it wasn't something in the ocean, I guess.
Yeah.
I was just like
Well,
very into it.
I've talked about that specifically, about somebody that knows how to foil, they know how to surf foil or whatever, and then learning how to wing foil. And it's a hard sport, and they were so frustrated and so pissed off that it was so hard. And I told them, like, you know why? It's because you feel like you already know how to do it, right?
Exactly.
You already know how to foil. Why wouldn't you know how to wing foil? Like, it's the same thing. And you get so frustrated because you're like, everybody else is doing it. I'm an extremely good waterman. I'm an athlete. Why is this feeling like it's so difficult to me? And that's where that frustration comes,
Probably.
right? So that makes a lot of sense about what you're saying with the jiu-jitsu. It's a completely different, like, it's not
Setting.
even,
Yeah. And it's completely different. I don't know
These
why.
are like therapy sessions.
Sorry?
These are like therapy sessions.
Exactly.
I learned so much.
Yeah. For example, for me, jiu-jitsu was so cool to just like start from the beginning and understand fundamentals. Like, you have to apply fundamentals and apply those fundamentals on every move, which actually helped me understand bodyboarding even better. Because I was able to understand how every single change I would do on my board, on my body movement, on my body position, would completely change a power maneuver that I would do. So actually, that's, you know, I'm 37. Again, I'm 37, served bodyboarding for almost 25 years. So getting to learn that, you know, almost 20 years later, it's pretty crazy that I don't really feel like I peaked on my sport. I feel like I'm still learning and getting better and better each time.
Yeah.
So definitely, you know, I don't know if you've ever tried jiu-jitsu, but definitely jiu-jitsu just brought in my way into how to see how my body actually works and functions on everything that I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's like everyday thing, like even getting up from the floor. So
yeah, I had Roy in here. He's a foiler. And he was like, you got to get in the dojo. Like, that's what, like, had a turning point in his life, was when he got into the dojo.
yeah.
And exactly the same thing, Hector, you know Hector from Acai Express?
Yeah, of course. He's
Right?
like, I think he's like a brown belt or black. I don't know. I'm not
Almost
sure.
black. Yeah. And he did a podcast with me. It was uploaded on Tuesday.
Okay, cool. I'm going to see
And
that.
it's a good one. And same thing. He's like, jiu-jitsu changed my life, because jiu-jitsu, apart from the discipline and everything that he's put into it, he also found acai because of it, right? Because of that and where the culture came from and all of that. So he pays tribute to that because of jiu-jitsu. Like, jiu-jitsu was that.
Yeah.
Right. And what had changed his life. Right.
It's so crazy.
And I was specifically going to ask you about jiu-jitsu because it's come up before, and I know that you're
man.
doing it. And how'd you injure your shoulder?
Oh, snowboarding.
Oh, fuck. Stupid.
Snowboarding.
It's got to be snowboarding. Yeah.
So again, I have two younger brothers, and for the first time,
They're both younger than you?
Yeah.
How many brothers do you have?
I have three brothers, but I have two brothers with my dad.
Okay.
So we're three kids from, you know, three children from my dad. So I'm the eldest.
I thought one was older than you.
No.
No. Okay.
The one with the long hair?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
He's 5 years younger than me.
Okay. So you're the old guy.
Yeah. So that's the only sport, snowboarding, where I'm at a disadvantage from them, because they're pretty good. You know, for people that go once a year, they're really good. So I have to keep up with them. And so yeah, I don't know. We were going pretty fast, but we were already starting to slow down. And when I knew that the snow was about to get bad, so I hit the brakes and cut my rail, and just slammed face first. I even heard it when it broke, like black.
So your collarbone, or what was it?
Collarbone, yeah. The whole collarbone just.
Oh shit.
The thing was that I've gotten 3 surgeries. That was in January of last year. Got a surgery in January. Again, I pushed it a little bit.
So is that why you said it was a tough year for you?
Yeah.
Recovery is tough.
Sorry?
Recovery is tough.
Recovery stuff, the mental part,
Yeah.
being out of the water. You can imagine how it is for someone that
Oh, man.
spend their whole lives out in the ocean.
Yeah.
So I you know,
Yeah. Someone like me, I have like really high highs and I get really low lows too.
Yeah.
You know,
so when
especially
you
if
get
I'm
those
off
lows,
the water like that.
Yeah, and you got those lows, and you can't go into the ocean and just get that little
Don't wanna get an
fix.
injury, you know.
It's very hard, man.
Yeah.
So I had, I for the first time I had the understanding a little bit of what mental health is. I never really thought about it until that. I knew about, it was okay. I would go to therapy from once in a while, but like really going into a depression and entering a self-sabotage that you don't really understand why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And basically those emotions take over and you actually go into an autopilot. So, I had surfing and I also had jiu-jitsu to channel all my energy. And all of a sudden I don't have any of those.
Yeah.
And at the same time, because I'm doing this out of sabotage, I'm also sabotaging my family relationships, my interpersonal relationships, with my ex-girlfriend, and even with my friends. So I didn't see that until it was already too late.
Yeah.
And when it was already too late, I was also going into my third surgery. So on my third surgery, I remember just being in the hospital, just being by myself in the hospital and going like, okay, if I don't change my mindset, I'm done. I'm not gonna be able to surf again. Like the doctor told me, like, this is your last time. If you break it again, you're gonna lose movement. You're not gonna go back into surfing. Forget about jiu-jitsu.
So why did you have to do a third surgery?
Because it would, on the first one, I pushed it a little bit too hard and it broke again.
Fuck.
It just broke. I was on my bed. I moved on the side and it just snapped with the whole metal plate.
My God, man.
On the second one, they took bone out of my hip. They placed it between the two bones. Because the bone, when it broke the first time, it broke like when you break a chicken bone,
Like it shattered.
shattered. So they didn't know that until they opened me the first time. So on the second time, they were like, okay, we're going to take the bone out of his hip, place it. It's okay. The thing was that it fused on one side and it didn't fuse on the other. So what happened was, like, you couldn't see it on the x-rays. And because it didn't fuse, and I already had like the green, like, yeah, you're okay. 6 months after my surgery, you're okay. So instead of the bone taking all that energy of whatever you're doing, all the exercise, sports that you're doing, everything's going through the metal plate instead of the bone. So what happened was I was already surfing, already training jiu-jitsu again, and even though I was going slow, one day the plate just went like, it popped.
No way.
So it broke a screw and it popped. So
What were you doing when that happened?
I was doing jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah.
But I was going really slow. I was rolling with a girl, and the girl, she's probably not.
Well, that's no excuse. Come on.
110 pounds. No, she's not even 110 pounds. I swear. No, those some randoms.
I know exactly.
And we were going really slow. We were just like rolling and just having, we were just having fun, laughing, and all of a sudden I just feel that thing popping up. But it didn't feel like nothing happened. It's just like, oh, maybe it was just whatever. Nothing, no pain or anything.
Huh.
I got the CT scan and finally, that was in October, and then I got my third surgery in January. But that time lapse between October and January was just me just going down in a spiral, because I knew I was about to go through the same process
Again, yeah.
again for a third time. So yeah, mental health, the ocean, it's definitely, they go hand to hand. If I don't have the water, I'm so the thing was, like, I needed to learn how to, like, not have the FOMO of not being in the ocean, not having, just like not looking at external stuff for happiness, and just understanding that happiness actually comes from within you and not from being out in the ocean. So that's something I've learned in the past 6 months. So now here I am, much happier.
At 37.
37, man. That's right.
Yeah, well, you're doing pretty good for yourself. Huh?
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, good life in Puerto Rico.
Good life.
Good lifestyle.
Yeah.
Lots of great surf spots. Really good community.
Yeah.
Right?
Even though everything we talked about.
Full of bravitos, you know. No, good. I mean.
Yeah, the community is great.
Yeah.
I'm super grateful for all my friends here in the from the water. You know, Did
you live anywhere else than Puerto Rico?
No. I've always lived here, but I've been lucky enough again to travel the whole world.
Yeah, so for sure. Makes a big difference.
Makes a difference. Like if I call anyone around the world, I'll have a house wherever I want to go. So yeah, that's the beauty of surfing, I guess. Yeah. Yeah,
it's that community.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hector talked about it. You know, he talked about it with collecting watches. He's like, it's the community, and I was like, well, I don't know about watch collectors.
That's weird, right? They don't even know that. But he used to be a bodyboarder.
Yeah.
Hector.
Yeah.
I remember Hector when I was really young. Yeah. So cool.
Yeah.
Now he's the Acai Express guy. Eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Epic story.
Epic story. I'm going to give it a listen to that one.
Yeah. So he talked a little bit about the Acai Express and stuff like that. But yeah, he's a super cool guy. And, you know, we hang out here and there, and we do a lot of the similar sports, and I supply him with all this gear. He's an addict. He is like impulsive, will buy anything, you know, that anybody says is good. Yeah. So he's a super cool guy. And I mean, everybody, and he talked about it, the community, and I've talked about it, and this is why I'm doing the podcast. I have no idea where it's going or what's going to happen with it. If it's good for me. I've had really good feedback from everyone that's been listening to it, and there's been a following out of nothing, you know, and it continues to grow. And I want to get to know all these people that we don't hang out with, right? Even the people that I think I know, I don't know, you know, and I told Hector the same thing, is that learning how to do this podcast thing, which I'm learning how to do, I do it in the everyday life, is that you have this like a little bit more of like an intimate conversation instead of just this pass through of like, how was your day? You know, like I've run into you mainly at Pinky's. I don't know if you're sponsored by Pinky's or what.
I just love it.
So, you know, pass by, like whatever. It could be anything. You pass by Pinky's like, oh, hey, what's up? Hey, how's it going? And then, you know, how's the weather? And, you know, what are the waves going to do this week, PJ? You know,
this is probably our most intimate.
No, of course. Yeah, for sure.
Most intimate conversation.
Yeah, I mean, even if we would, and I'd be like, hey, bro, you want to go get a beer? It would not be the same.
No, we're going to be meeting up with other people, and people are going to crash into the conversation.
Or your phone rang like 4 times,
100 times,
right?
Yeah.
Then, you know, we're distracted and we're talking. Like, so this is a really cool, like, I recommend to anybody that if anybody wants to actually get to know somebody, is do it in a podcast setting. It's kind of epic, the way that you can talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And it could be daunting, like to be able to do it. I'm always like, getting started, I'm always just a little bit nervous. I'm like, again, I didn't prepare anything. I know nothing. I don't know where this is going, but it always turns out really good because I hate planning things. And I've always done it with my business too. Like when something comes my way, I can really quickly figure out a solution for it. Like something comes to me, something's happening, the wind changes, whatever, and I know that I can deal with it. And even if it's the wrong thing to do, I know in that moment that this is what I'm going to do, and I have a plan, and I'm going to execute in the most efficient way to do it. And I think it comes in handy, and this is great training. Like if you do that thing with you do these forecasting, right? That's great practice because you're intimately talking to nobody, right? And you're talking essentially to yourself, right? And then
which is weird,
right? It's weird, and then you have to. I do it all the time also with like I do these review videos of different products and stuff. And after coming off, it was good practice for the podcast, right? Is what I'm saying, is that I'm talking about something and I have to think about thoughtful things to say, and I have to be witty, or I have to be, you know, smart, and I have to come up with, you know,
Something
good things
funny.
to say.
Yeah,
I have to be salesy, but, you know, but friendly, you know, and like come off like I'm me, right? Which is hard to come off like yourself when you're filming yourself and you want to be you. You want to be natural, right? But it's not natural talking to a camera.
It's not. It's not. I hate it. I actually hate it.
It's tough.
I actually hate it. Yeah, it's really tough. And the cool thing, like you said, it actually prepares you for when you're gonna have like these kind of talks. But in the case of like when I started doing the my surf reports, I was like, this is so dumb, man. But at the same time, it came out so natural.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do retakes. It's just like, I'll just do it, and that's it.
Yeah.
One shot, it's gone. And I think that's what people actually like, that they were actually seeing me, not being this salesman or anything.
Yeah.
Just like me being me, talking
Genuine.
to people. Obviously, I always give it a little bit of a twist of being like a little bit of a prick,
Yeah.
so that people think that I'm the know-it-all or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I told you guys, you know, something like that. But that's just me being a prick, so people laugh and have a good time.
Again, I'm gonna, whoever's listening, recommend it, is to put yourself out there a little bit, because I was never like the face. I never wanted to be the face of it, because I feel like I'm the expert in a lot of these things, like kiteboarding. I've been doing it forever. I've been teaching it forever. I've been teaching instructors to teach it. I've been managing the business, and I always felt like I was this expert, but I was always afraid to put my opinion online, right? To be like, well, what if I'm not the expert?
Yeah.
You know, like, what if I don't know everything? And in fact, you don't know everything, right? And yeah, you can, I said it to Ricardo yesterday, that you learn things from people that you least expected most of the time. Like you in boogie boarding, someone that's not as good as you giving you their opinion or trying to tell you something. You might not want to hear it, but there are some times that people that have a lesser skill or you don't feel like are up to your tier can teach you something that's very valuable, because they look at it like, I learn it from these new foilers or surfers or whatever. They look at it so differently than I do, because I'm already at the top, you know.
It's natural for you.
Yeah, I have this natural gauge to it, and then people ask me these questions, and you have to like, or they tell you something, you're like, huh, fuck. That's why being an instructor was really good for my whole life, is that my students taught me the most about kiteboarding.
Best way to learn is by teaching. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's so good to hear. But that was where you're saying like you're the expert, but at the same time you don't feel it. That's the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
That everybody has.
Yeah.
And but I'm so glad that you're actually overcoming that, and you are already in doing it.
I've started to put myself out there, because I'm like, well, I do it all the time. People come face to face, and I tell them straight up and as much as I can. And if I can do that, then why can't I just put myself out there? And in reality, no one really cares. Like a review video I did of code or whatever, it got like 2,000 views. I'm like, what is 2,000 views? Are they genuine? Are they not? It's really nothing. And if somebody says and gives me a thumbs down, I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter. Nobody really cares. But if you put yourself out there, nobody really cares. All they do is care about themselves.
But the one bad comment is the one that actually, you can have 100 good comments, and that one bad comment is just like, oh, what did you say that to me? You know, I was like just trying to be nice and trying to like put that in. So that's something that I also learned. Like, I stopped reading comments, and it's like the only way I read a comment, it's like if I'm like already in the app and I see the comment pop up, and usually if it's positive, then I'll just answer something to them, to answer something back. I know where the negative comments are gonna be, so I try to like I try not looking at it, because I have two choices. Either I engage on it,
to like try to defend yourself, but there's no defending people that put out bad comments.
No.
They're in it for that.
They're in it for it, yeah. And you see, and it's so toxic, and social media has gotten so, sometimes Have you ever seen a video and you just go, okay, I'm going straight to the comment section, and you go straight to the comment section, and you're like, people are evil, man.
People are crazy
and
online.
You like look at it, you're like, wow, and you laugh, and I'm like, am I laughing because I'm this evil and this dark? It's because my humor is dark.
Yeah.
But you guys just went to a whole new level.
Crazy. Crazy.
So it's a very, very toxic place. So whatever you're doing in social media is try to be like try to like make social media a better place.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit more positive, just giving people some new information that's actually going to help them in their new journey. Either it's foiling, surfing, kite surfing, or whatever.
Yeah. So it's been positive, and I've learned a ton from it, and I'm going to continue to do it.
That's so cool.
Which is super fun. And your forecasting is helpful.
Thank you.
I don't look at a forecast ever.
Really?
Yeah, nothing. I don't even look at Surfline. I just go surf.
Not Wind Guru or anything? I mean,
So
you guys should use Wind
I
Guru.
look at the forecast for the wind.
Yeah.
But when I go surfing, my wife asked me the other day, she's like, do you know if there's going to be waves? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
just
Like,
gonna go.
honestly, I don't care. Like, if I go to the spot and it's too big, I'll surf on the inside. Or like, I think with a foil, maybe it's different. And I don't come from that background of surfing. I just go there, and I either punish myself or don't, or I learn from it. I have a bad session or a good session, but I enjoy the process of learning.
Yeah.
I enjoy that new thing, and I want to be the expert in everything that I do. So I want to put myself through all these things. And then now I start to look at the forecast a little bit to have like a gauge, but at the beginning it made no sense. I'd look at the forecast, I'm like, and I would make my decisions if I was going to go or not based on a forecast that I didn't know.
I don't understand.
I didn't understand if it was going to be good or not for the spot. Like there's so much to calculate. So now I look at it a little bit more, but I still try to like disregard it because you never know what the ocean's going to throw at you.
And the main reason I did this is because I noticed that people had no idea on how to interpret a forecast.
I have no idea.
And it's so hard.
A wave forecast. Although it seems like it would be more predictable because waves are coming from 10,000 miles away. You know, you read them, here they come, right?
It's not, man. It's so hard because every wave around the island needs a different direction, needs a different swell period, needs a different wind, tide. So for me, it's hard to like tell people like, I'm not going to tell you like, oh, go surf to this wave or go surf to this other wave. But I try to like try to explain people like, okay, understand that the swell, it's coming from the northeast. It's this period, this wind. If it says it's 3 to 4 feet, watch out. The period it's 14. That's probably going to be 6 to 8 feet.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to explain people so that they understand how to make their own decisions based on what they're learning. I'm not giving you a forecast telling you like, go out there, the waves are good. I'm actually giving you a forecast so that you understand how to read it because it takes a lot of time to understand how to read a forecast. It takes time to read the forecast and do the you do your homework of going out into your local wave or whatever and going like, oh, it doesn't work with this direction.
Yeah.
Gotta come back when it's some other direction and see how it's working.
Yeah.
It's gonna take you many swells, many misses, and once you get it, you're like, oh yeah, we're not going on this swell, we're gonna go to this other wave or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the part that actually takes a lot of time, and it's probably why foiling is way better than surfing, because you just go out there. And
you could,
just have
you
fun.
can. It's not so specific. You don't need something so clean. You can.
Yeah.
But I know when it's big, and when I need to go towing versus paddling in, or what spots could be dangerous. And with downwinding also, it needs to be pretty specific when in the winter, because I've had some pretty nasty sessions like swells that were coming from 2 different directions, and I thought it was going to be awesome, and just being out there in like a washing machine and pretty crazy scenario. So yeah, I gotta pay a little bit more attention to it, and I do. And if I'm gonna book a lesson or tell somebody to go somewhere, I'm gonna do my homework. I'm just on my personal level when I go out to go, I'd rather not worry about it because it could make me like make a wrong decision, and I could have had an epic session, and I don't,
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah, I know.
And I did that with kiting, and always people used to have wind meters on my beach in Playa del Carmen. They're like, oh, it's only 8 knots. I'm like, well, I don't care if it's 8 knots, it's 10 knots, it's 12. Like, I'm gonna put a kite up in the air and see what I can do. And like, temperature makes a difference in how powerful the wind is, like everything. So I never looked at the forecast. I'd always go to the beach and I just fly a kite no matter what. And I have that similar approach to what I want to do in my foiling and surfing and stuff. Is like, I don't even know what that means. Nobody even knows what that means. You know? Like, no one knows if it's actually going to be good. And have you ever sent anybody to like be like, hey, this is going to be the spot today, but you're actually going to another spot?
No, I don't do that. I don't do that. I might do it as a joke. Yeah. But I wouldn't do that. Because it would be.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're trying to get a genuine.
Yeah. I would lose all credibility.
Yeah, the boy who cries wolf.
Yeah, kind of that would be mean from my part.
I know. Just
and I try not,
don't point people to spots.
Yeah, I try not to point people at spots unless are the spots that everybody knows, like Aviones, Hobos, Hollows. Those are like the 3 main small waves, like Manatí. There's a few waves in Manatí, like Los Tubos, places like that.
Is there a good wave that's really good for boogie boarding that's not good for surfing?
Oh yeah, there's
that
plenty.
You like score
here in Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
there's a few.
Nice.
There's one called Mingo's Wedge in Arecibo. It's in the same bay as Hollows, and that's definitely a bodyboarding wave. Nice. Every time you see the surfers out there, they're not having. It's a beach break.
Yeah.
But it's a wedge at the same time. So
crazy.
It's crazy. So you see the surfers struggling on that place.
Yeah. So I assume you've got some good footage and. You know, some good pictures and stuff.
I can send you a few stuff.
Yeah, because this goes up, the whole video goes up on YouTube, and I try to. It's hard to find the time, but I go through the edit. I slap some pictures and some context in between.
I'll send
you of like your broken bone when you say your bone, like it's gonna pop up on the YouTube. So I'm gonna try to do stuff because it gets a little bit more context and get more following that way. So
I'll give you a file.
I've seen some fucking rad pictures from you, like flying in the air upside down and crazy shit. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. This was super fun.
Yeah, and I loved it. Thank you so much.
I'm glad you made it.
Doing it in English, I felt like really comfortable.
Dude, I wouldn't have been able to tell a difference if that was not your first language.
Thank you.
Pretty epic. So thanks for joining me, and
thank you for having me.
And we'll teach you how to foil. And then we'll bring you back on the podcast to the real X foils.
Yes.
And see where you land. Right? Thanks, man.
Thank you, man. Thanks.